Hey, good evening, everyone. We shouldn't be muted. There should be sound. Everything should work
Yay.
well. And
Can you hear me?
I think everyone. Well, can you hear all of us? Can you guys talk for a second, just to make sure?
Do.
A
Red.
deer, a female deer, pray a jungle side.
All right.
My
So it
God.
should work. Mm. Welcome, friends, to
Right.
our second session of The Witcher TTRPG. Second part to the Beast of Oxenfurt. And we've lost Jillian to a fit of laughter. So, before we delve into our mystery, let's just go around the table, introduce yourselves once again. Who are you, and who are you playing? As you can see, everyone, we have the portrait of each of the characters. But who are they? I'll let each and everyone introduce themselves in like a couple words. We'll start with Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I play Ilona. She is an elf bard, and she's here to have a good time.
All right, and who are you playing, Steven?
Hey everybody, I'm Steven. I'm playing a knight, Kahir Keritwin, different Ipwitwir. I almost got it that time. And I'm here, if Alona's here for a good time, I'm here for a fighting time.
Looking for trouble.
No, but trouble finds me, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. And following up, Jillian.
Hi, I'm Jillian. I play Ariella, the Witcher who is looking for hunting time. Because every day is hunting time.
And last but not least, Manny. Who are you playing?
I'm playing Edric, the mage, and he's just trying to get his job done. It's work time. it's not hunting time. It's not fun time. It's not fight time yet. It's work time.
What about now?
Fun, fight, hunt, and work. Those are your characters. I was gonna say ideals, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Motives.
Those are just
Yeah.
the new classes.
Mm-hmm. I am a fun character. I'm a fight character. I am a hunt character. So, and there's also a fifth character in addition to all four players called Buck the Horse, which is currently tied up to a tree outside of town. While the adventure will pick back where we left off in the small village of Bennek on the outskirts of Oxenfurt, can one of you recap what happened during the first episode?
I guess I'll do it.
All right.
Alright, so Ariella, Ilana, and Kahir arrive in Oxenfurt to Egypt's detective agency known as the Lit Candle, where he discussed with us the troubles of a missing merchant's son who has gone missing and rumors of the beast of Oxenfurt, who has kindly would give us compensation for helping him out in his quest. So, after a lovely song by Ilana at the local inn, I think the Rosebud, we all set out to go to the village of Brennick, which is actually a real place in the Witcher games, because I visited there. And we come across a Farmer Gutsfield's farm where his big pig Huff is missing and was taken by drowners. Ariella agrees to help with the drowner problem because that's what she does. She is a witcher. And when they get to the river's edge near Brennick, they decide to set up a trap with a chicken, and they wait until nightfall to chase after the drowners who have stupidly took the bait. And they run off, but then as we are running along, Ilana trips and falls into the river, Drowners try to attack her. Edric tells Ariel to run. She does not listen. She attacks the drowner, cuts it in half. And after all the chasing around, we find the lair and we are told to go back into Brennick. The end.
Well, we'll skip a few minutes ahead, and we will find all four of you sitting comfortably at the inn in Brennick. Inn that goes by the name of the Leaky Barge. And you're at the Leaky Barge. You were, for some of you, fished out of the water, fished out of the river a few moments ago. Sorry. And are now sitting at a table in the Leaky Barge. You've noticed, just so we can get back into it, you've noticed that the barkeep is a woman. And as you look around, there is a disproportionate amount of women in this tavern, which is irregular compared to what is normally the normal clientele of a tavern.
Ilana, heads to the table, closest to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Even tries to pull the table, a little bit closer to the fire. She's soaked. Her dress is, plastered to her body. Her hair is just wet and all over her face. She's just soaked. And she's, very hurriedly taking her mandolin out of I assume she has, an oilcloth bag, and is, very almost panicked, taking taking the strings off and removing the pegs and trying to just push it as close to the fire
to dry it out.
And just freaking out, muttering oh god, if I have to buy a whole new one, and pulling other stuff out of her bag. She has a locked journal, and she's just trying to salvage whatever she can.
All right, you can hear the wood creak when you're unstringing the mandolin. The because it's just slightly damp. The oiled cloth did a good job at it does a good job at soaking rainwater.
Yeah.
When it rains, but this time you just fell face first in the river.
It doesn't help when you've submerged it.
That's it. So you're slowly removing everything from your backpack, and even the innkeep, who introduces herself as Miriam. Ooh, is that how you pronounce it?
Miriam?
Yeah, Miriam. Well, it's Mirjam, but it's Miriam. And she says, "It's all right, love. I'll just I'll help you move the table." And she moves the table closer, and she's like, "If you need anything to dry out your that's a marvelous instrument you have there. If you need anything, you just let me know. You must have had a very horrible time in the river. We." And she increases her volume for a split second and addresses the whole room at once. It says, "And that is why we don't go near the river at night, or at all for that matter. But you couldn't know that. You're outsiders. You too." And she motions to the three of you, Care, Ariella, and Idrik. She says, "If you have anything to dry off, please make yourselves comfortable around the fire."
As she says, "But you couldn't know that because you're outsiders," Edric takes the severed drowner head that he's been holding, and just kind of plops it on the counter.
And she's like, "Sir, please move this out of the way."
Kyr just shakes his head and goes and gets the head, and he says, "Mages." And then he just kind of turns and walks towards the front of the door, and sets it not on the coat rack. That would be but sets it probably right outside the front door.
She quickly wipes off the counter in front of Idrik. And she says, if you wanted a bounty for those drowner heads, you'd have to speak with the Lord Mayor.
Well, there's already a pool out for a witcher to take care of that.
Oh, really? Who did that?
That'd be Farmer Gutsfield. He asked for a witcher.
Well, then I'm pretty sure Farmer Hutsfield would pay you more than the Lord Mayor of Henholt. It's preferable you leave this out of earshot of the mayor. Just keep it between you and Gutsfield if need be. And like everybody in the tavern just like mumbles in agreement.
Alright.
Edric is also going to go and sit next to the fire because he was waist deep into the river.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the lower half of his purse is just kind of wet and soaked and, like, probably caked in mud at this point.
Yeah, it's like all grimy.
I think also Ariel is just gonna try and wipe get a cloth or a bag, just like wipe the blood off of her silver sword.
Everyone's looking at you with, and I mean you, like the general you, the whole group, with a mixture of amazement and dread. Nobody likes strangers. And while they do look happy, especially at the sight of Idrik pulling out a drowner head, which means that you were able to fend off the drowner in one way or another, but none of them really want to approach you. They kind of leave you alone around the hearth.
Yeah, Ilona, like, will go sit beside Idrik and, like, take his hand in both of her hands and say, You saved me. Thank you.
Of course, you fell in the river.
I know it seems stupid, but I can't swim. I would have drowned if it weren't for you.
How old are you that you can't swim?
I'm only 100, but I didn't. We didn't live near the lakes in Dol Blathana, and I never needed it. But
well, there is time to learn. I suggested up here in the north, the rivers, they will kill you if you're not a strong swimmer.
But I don't know where I would learn. All of these rivers seem to be full of monsters.
Yes, that does pose a problem.
And she's gonna, how does your glamour work? Like, does it, like, because you're very scarred, right? So,
yeah, so like most, basically the glamour just kind of sharpens his features a little bit, and then kind of dulls out some of the nastier scars.
But like, is it like an illusion? Like the scars are still there behind the magic, or does it like make them disappear temporarily?
No, it's just an illusion, right, Simon?
I think it is. I'm looking it up.
The wording is not clear, so I think it's
no,
clear.
but I figure it's a glamour, so it's just an illusion.
It just says you cast an illusion around yourself.
It doesn't shapeshift you into anything. You just look like if you were to like put your fingers over, like trace the scars, you would probably feel them as being much more pronounced than what they look like. They probably just look like slight blemishes right now. except
Yeah,
for
and-
one that adds like, it adds a certain air of mystery to Idrik.
the one that looks sexy.
The one that looks sexy, that gives him that +3 to seduction, like
Yeah.
that one,
Exactly.
one cool scar.
The ladies love a 6-inch long scar across the side of your face.
But she's gonna like reach up and touch his face and say, "The glamour. What? Why do you do that?"
Uh, uh, he'll drop the glamour, showing all of the scars, and they are mostly like really like heavy and gross, like they really pronounced against his skin, and especially the one against around his neck specifically is like really thick, and he's like, because this bothers most people.
Yeah, you hear your patron spit take in the background.
like that.
I mean, my ears bother most people, but I can't hide them. You shouldn't. She like will run her thumb along one of the scars. You shouldn't be ashamed of them. Scars are just your stories written on your face.
Well, let's just say I'm not proud of all of my stories. Now, I need to get you something to drink, otherwise you'll catch your death. And Idrik will stand up, and he's going to go to the bar and try and figure something out for some lodging for the night, as well as drinks to warm everyone up.
I was muted. I said all right. While this is happening, what are Ariella and Care doing?
I think she would look at him and just say, "I'm impressed. You're a lot stronger than you look."
Oh.
Yeah, I think she was talking to Kair.
Yeah, I was talking to you.
Yeah. He doesn't say much. He's kind of more in his head right now, kind of thinking about the things that just happened. But he looks over at Ariella and he says, "It's been years of practice.
It's the first time in a long while I've seen a drowner head explode.
First one exploded one."
It's always satisfying to see them explode. Well, that's just my opinion.
It's interesting. I don't think it is something I'll ever get accustomed to.
It's not everyone's preferences to hunt monsters. That's why we have witchers.
Perhaps so.
I'm glad we're in agreement.
I'm glad you could assist.
That's what I do.
When there's a lull in the conversation, the barkeep Miriam just like slithers between all four of you, and she's like, "Well, now that you're comfortable around the fire, maybe you would like to order something to drink."
Yes, please.
Beat me to it. Yes.
Yeah, she saw you going at the bar, but she like did a detour, and then she motions to Idrik, "I'll be with you shortly." And also, just for to satisfy everyone's curiosity, what were you doing by the river? Were you just hunting drowners? Is that why you're here in Brennick?
Well, yes, sort of, actually.
We're looking for someone.
Oh, Oh, don't be so... They're hunting the beast of Oxenfurt.
Collective spit take from the same person again. You've like ruined someone's drink like 3 times
Oh my
tonight.
goodness.
My cabbage.
Are you quite all right, dear?
The beast of Oxenfurt. There, and you hear someone say, maybe they're looking for Rachimich. Oh God, the DM massacred that word. I'm sorry for any Polish viewers. Radzimish. Maybe they're here for Radzimish. And others are like, oh, no, they're here for the bandits. No, the beast isn't a bandit. The beast is a monster. My husband's seen her. And everyone, and another person's like, your husband is a drunk. He wouldn't have drowned if it hadn't been for him drinking during the day. And the other woman's like, it's drowners, I told you. And it sort of starts like an argument, like shouting match in a portion of the tavern.
Can I just like slam my fist just to shut everyone up? Because this is getting too out of hand.
When you do, everyone sort of calms down and turns to the Witcher. Because, if we're talking about monsters and everything. And then one of them gets up. It's an elderly gentleman. And he says, are you here for the beast or not?
Well, it could depend.
Yes, we are.
Then good. And you see he was maybe like tense, about to shout something or whatever, but once you confirmed you were here for the beast, he just readvises and sits down and mulls over his tankard. And Miriam says, look, tempers have been flaring up recently. The beast has taken quite a number of our husbands and brothers and sons. We're pretty defenseless as far as villages go. We don't know how we're going to make next harvest. A lot of us have had to learn how to till the soil and all that to replace our missing husbands. We're all a bit on edge, you'll understand. If you're here for the beast, drinks are on me tonight. Reasonably.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're supplied with a few like shots of vodka.
Ilona will drink all of them. One right after the other.
So there's a
Kair reaches for one, but Ilona gets it fast. And then he like reaches for the next one, but Ilona already has it.
She's just,
she
like
was
just frat boy at a party pounding them down.
I mean, she was nice, and she counted basically 3 shots each on the house, which was 12 ounces in all. So you just...
maybe if there were 12, I thought there were like 4.
No, there's like 3 of them.
Okay.
So
No.
Ilona,
She's gonna do like 4.
Ilona just downs like 3 of hers, and then 1 from Kahir, and just... what is your... I hate to ask.
No, I love it.
But
please.
Ilona... Oh, I mean, I don't hate it for real. What is your... Oh, sorry. Your endurance. Do you have any skill points in endurance?
My endurance. Is that a body skill?
It's a body skill, yeah.
I have 0 points in endurance.
Cool. So I'm gonna ask you to make an endurance check.
Cool.
Which, so not for the first one. Or what is your body?
What is my body?
I mean the stat, not.
My body is amazing, thank you.
How would you rate your body on a scale of 1 to hot? No. I mean the stat. Like how many points do you have?
My body is a 5.
Oh my god, we do have to rate our bodies on a scale of 1 to 10.
I know, right? This game is literally like, how would you rate your X?
So my body is a 5, but my style is a 6.
Which goes with your I don't think it would go with I don't remember style. It's not an empathy skill.
Style is an
Is an empathy skill.
empathy skill. Yeah.
All right, but style will not prevent you from getting piss ass drunk. So after your second shot, make your first endurance test.
Okay.
So a D10 plus 5 and
It's not rolling. Is it rolling my body skill?
it should have
It appears to be rolling
something else.
my reflex.
Weird. But but you could just not do that, just do a 5. So it's a 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we'll replace the 8 with a 5, and then it might just be the the macro in it, like in the button, that's just going to a different stat.
Yeah.
I mean, that could happen. But look, you rolled a 9. 9 plus 5. That's 14. That's good. Can you roll twice again?
Okay.
Just in case. Same thing. Just click twice, and then we'll subtract 3 from the total.
I'm gonna try physique and see if it
Sure.
rolls body, because I have also no points in that. That one rolled my body.
Oh, okay, so it might just be endurance that's broken. So after the third shot, it starts kicking in, and your cheeks redden, and then you don't need to roll for the third one, or the fourth one. It piles on from there.
Excellent.
From a toxicity standpoint,
Yeah. How?
1, 2, 3. That would be like a 60% of the total penalty, which would be normally when you're completely drunk. For anyone interested, you get a -2 to reflex, dex, and intelligence, and -3 to verbal combat. But that's when you're completely drunk. So in your case, you would be at, we'll say, -1 to ref, dex, and intel.
Okay. So how much more can I drink?
Technically, 2 more shots, and then you're drunk.
Okay.
She can
If
have
I
5.
switch to wine, this is very important math, people.
Let's say 3 glasses of wine.
Okay. And then, like, other than the subtraction in stats, I'm okay as far as like I won't, like, how much do I drink until I black out? If that were potentially my plan.
If you want to black out, once you're piss drunk, you start at 25% of blacking out.
Okay.
And then you just have to pile on to that to make it go to 100.
Okay.
So Ilona is just drinking, like, shot after
not
shot. And then,
yet, but, like, I just want to know so I can plan my night.
Okay, I just need some real fast clarification here from the DM.
Uh-huh.
Are you expecting me to believe that there is a like installed, somewhat complex intoxication rule set with rules to black out?
I made it more complex.
You made it more complex because
normally it's you either are or you aren't.
Okay.
But it's like, I wanted to know, especially because Lauren asked me. She's like, I plan to do this. And I figure she plans to do this maybe often because that's her character. So I was like, let's make it so that it's not, black and white, and there's a sort of gradient to it. So we're using the intoxication rule from the Witcher potions. Yeah. I made intoxication for that purpose. Well, for, alcohol when you're not a Witcher.
I love it.
So
I told y'all she's the drunk girl at a party, and
she's a woo girl. That being said, it's also going to affect, like we discussed, verbal combat. When you're completely drunk, your verbal combat goes down because you're just slurring words and not really paying attention to what's going on around you. But until you are, it gives you a slight increase in the sense that it does it gives you a bonus to your romance tool.
I love it. I'm getting drunk forever. Okay.
So basically,
Basically, I'm really good at chatting people up.
That's it. Instead of a -3, like romance gives a penalty to the other party. As long as you keep the romance up. So technically, the romance shouldn't last very long if you just plan on like sleeping with someone and then leaving. But if you do, right now the penalty instead of -3 for them would be at a -4.
Okay.
So it's a slight increase, but it still is, like a 10% difference. But for now, it's just the platter of shots. And Miriam just watches that, and she's like, I've never seen an elf drink that fast before in my life.
Oh, have you seen many elves drink here?
Not really. I just assume that, I've seen dwarves. And I don't mean to be rude or anything, but you really seem to drink like a dwarf.
Oh, why, thank you. Could I get a glass of like, do you have like mulled wine? It's very cold. I'm very wet.
I'll warm up a bottle of wine if you want. I have warm wine, spiced. And she looks at the three of you, Idrik, Ariella, and Kahir, and she's like, do I bring you anything? Aside from the shot glasses. Oh, by the way, the wine you'll have to pay them.
Oh, yes, of course.
When you have a moment, I would like to talk to you about arranging some rooms for the night and potentially for an extended period of time.
Can you, Idrik, make a persuasion check, which would be... We're not going to go into verbal combat for this because she's already inclined to do something specific in your favor, but you can make a charisma check. I think you're also hated as a wizard.
Right, I've got that in my stats.
All right,
so,
cool.
But I'm gonna just drop 2 luck points.
No
We'll
problem.
call it 3 luck points on this to bump it up to a 15 because that's a good threshold.
15. All right.
Luck.
Huh?
Luck resets every.
Yeah.
Every
It
time.
reset it at the start of the session. So the number that you needed to beat was 13. So with your luck, that is enough. And she says, well, about the rooms, I was going to suggest, if you're okay with it, if you're hunting down the beast of Oxenfurt, I can deduct the price of the rooms from the reward. Oh. You said you were going to be paid by somebody else.
No, we are... Ariella here is hunting drowners for Farmer Gutsfield. We don't know anything about the reward for the beast, however.
Oh, well, they're, the Lord Mayor of Hanholt did put out a reward for it. I haven't put up the signs yet. My heart's not been into it, but I'll arrange something. Don't worry about the rooms.
Well, we can do that, or if you know anybody that is endeared or suffering a hex, perhaps I can take care of that for the cost of the rooms.
Because you're a mage, and she looks to Kahir, because Kahir is the one that ousted you as a mage.
I nod, and I just... A little bit of fire kind of just plays at my fingers before it snuffs out.
Well, we think that Rajimish, we call him Quiet Rajimish. We don't see him often, but we believe he's been struck by a curse. If you wanted to look into that, for our sake, then yes, we could come to an agreement once everything is settled. Brennick has been I think the entire village has been cursed, to be honest. I'll just go get your wine and everything. And,
Edric pulls out a notebook,
mhm.
like a small little leather-bound journal with like a little piece of like charcoal or like a quill or whatever. And he goes, "How do you spell that name? Rejnish?"
Oh, it's, the DM's gonna put it in chat. It's gonna be simple.
It's too hard to spell it in here.
Well, yeah, it's, somehow spelled like that. Thing is the DM wrote it in IPA in his notes, so I knew how to pronounce it myself, and I forgot to type down the actual name next to it.
Oof.
So it's just like a bunch of...
You wrote it in a beer?
No,
International Phonetic Alphabet, which is the best way to write all your name, all your fantasy name.
It works best when you have names in another language that you're not sure. So I think that's how it's written.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
But anyway, she goes, "We'll get the wine. That'll take a few moments. And if you need to talk to her, she says she'd be available once most of the patrons are gone, because just talking about..." And Kahir and Ariella, as you're just chilling around the fire, you notice that the more Idrik speaks of the curse or like hexes or whatever, the more people become quiet and reserved. They don't really enjoy talking about that or hearing about it. It seems to still be a bit too fresh in their memories.
I think Kahir actually would get up and go and try and talk to that old man that got up suddenly and wanted to make sure that we were going after the beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he'll just go and make his way and sit down at the table.
No
cross
problem.
Cross his legs in front of the man and say, "So something tells me you have personal feelings about this beast."
You could say that. The beast took my son. I don't have anybody else in the world.
I am sorry to hear that.
Do you know how hard it is for an old widower like me to wake up every day knowing that whatever took your son might be prowling the fields right next door? And I can't do anything. My arms can't even... I can't even lift a hoe anymore.
I'd love to hear your story.
Make a charisma check.
The old man says.
Oh,
The old
boy.
man's very fourth wall breaking.
I
Sorry,
mean, that's
actually-
the rule in the Witcher series, right? You live long enough, and then you just see past the fourth wall.
Yep.
I'm stuck in a world where my life doesn't mean a thing.
Charisma.
What's charisma?
I know, right?
It'll determine how much he's... Oh my
Oh!
god. How much he's willing to spill.
Everything.
In this case, everything. I was born 75 years ago in a small village in backwater
Wait,
Redania.
I'll need a drink for this.
Sure.
No, go ahead.
So, he tells the story of how, couple of weeks ago, before talks about the beast had, sprung or anything, there were quite a good number of people, just roving the countryside around the village, inspecting the river, inspecting the roads, the fields. Some were even caught peeping into houses. thinking they were some sort of like, I don't know, like forward force for a bandit gang, like the Black Sheep or something. The old man's son, old man by the way, who goes by the name of Horst, and his son was called Nico. And so Nico went to look, like to talk to them, and they ended up convincing him to help them. They were looking for a lost treasure. Saying that a while back, apparently there was a very well-known noble that should have been living in the region, or at least, if not living, had basically elected to stay for an extended period of time and then died around here, or at least disappeared. And they were trying to see if they could find either a survivor, like a descendant, or someone that knew that person, or if someone had found the treasure and just kept them inside their house. The treasure, according to them, belonged to a museum. They were with or so they said, the Oxenfurt Academy. And to be fair, Horst does not believe that one bit. To him, these people weren't academy type. They were all muscle and tattoos and mismatched outfits, and some of them looked like deserters from the war. He didn't fight in the war, and neither did Nico because he was too young at the time. But he's seen his fair share of people fleeing the Second Nilfgaard War. And he's like, he's pretty sure they were that, or bandits at best, finding an excuse. Anyway, Nico went with them. And then they all vanished. Horst says, I know what Miriam's going to tell you about the beast and Rajimich being the first casualty or whatever, but the first one was my son. It got a taste of my son and of those vile men, and then it couldn't be satiated or something, and it decided to go after all of the men. I'm probably next on the list, I don't know. Mind you, there's not much skin left on me, and I don't really have much meat left in my bones, but I don't think it's gonna matter once the beast come after me, and then it's gonna come after all the women. I should have told Nico to stay home. I should have confronted those bandits myself. That's my story, Sir Knight.
Do you think the beast is a beast or a man?
What sort of man could take on a group of at least that many people and my brave Nico? No. 'Tweren't a man that did that. Maybe a mutant, and he glances in Ariel's direction. Or a monster. And not an ordinary monster like a drowner. Those things are vile and cunning, but we would have found remains. We would have found something. No, this creature must have swallowed them whole. It must be the size of a troll or a small mountain. No.
That's pretty impressive.
It is, isn't it? In my younger days, I would have taken it on. I would have hunted it down. I would have gathered the militia, and I would have knocked on Lord Mayor's handhold's door myself and request military help. I would have done something. Instead, I'm forced to cower and hide in my hut and seek the comfort of the drink and the people here at night because I can't stay at home. I can't stay in the dark.
I will do what I can to either find your son or avenge him.
You have my thanks. You seem like you travel with very dangerous company. If anything, I think you could give the beast a run for its money. And who knows, maybe even take it down. Avenge Nico. I won't hold my breath out. Not that I don't trust you or I don't trust your abilities with the sword, but you see, it's already made off with so many able-bodied people here.
It's understandable. Thank you for your time. And he goes back and sits down next to Ariella and looks at her and says, he thinks it's a troll.
Ariella?
Yes.
The old man, he thinks it's a troll.
Well, I would have to look into that first. There would be signs if it was a troll.
Of course. I just thought you may be the expert on the subject.
Would I know anything if anything of this would be been caused by a troll?
Judging by what's been said of the beast so far, now that you think of it, it could be a rock troll. Because Idrik mentioned when he first talked to you in the lit candle about the disappearance of that merchant's cousin, that the beast might be some sort of like carapace wearing armored like monstrosity or something. And rock trolls can maybe for some, the uninitiated, the layman, maybe count as having like a carapace or like an armor. It really is just like rocky protrusions coming out of it. But it could fit that description, yes.
Could possibly be a rock troll.
Perhaps it's worth looking into.
The more
Those drowners. Gosh. What have we gotten ourselves into, Kahir?
Monsters?
Ilona, I think you have found yourself in the middle of one of your storybooks.
Well, I do prefer to sing about monsters rather than shoot them.
But you are very skilled with the bow.
Well, you can't be alive for as long as I have without learning at least something.
Well, don't worry. As long as you stay with Ariella, and I will be safe. I'm sure the Nilfgaardian will also protect you as well. He seems to be doing a good job of it so far.
Oh yes, Kahir has saved my life many times. I don't know how I could possibly repay him. I suppose you've saved my life now too. Perhaps now I owe you a debt.
Idra just kind of shrugs and goes back to his drink.
Speaking of, the wine is brought to Ilona.
Oh yes, thank you. And she just
empties it out.
No, but like she's enjoying her wine.
In her cups.
When you're just like, it's like when you've eaten something really good, she closes her eyes and after she's finished, she sighs contentedly and is just like, yes. this is what I needed. Like,
Ari, do you think that was the drowner's nest? Or perhaps was it an ambush?
Okay, did it look like a drowner's nest from when we saw it? I'm trying to remember. So it looked like an old shack in the river, and it's probably deeper down.
Yeah, they came out, or they were at least running to, like under a lonely pier that was jutting out into the river. So if they have an S, it would be hidden under that.
Well, if that was the nest, it'd be hidden deep under that pier.
So how do we get to it? Do we just burn the pier down? Or would they be in the cave system deeper underground?
Would I know something about the cave systems or how this would work?
So compared to the video game, Witcher nests aren't just like a bird's nest made with trash on the riverbed.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking.
So it's weird because they don't necessarily have like a complicated burrow or a hidey hole or anything of the sort. They don't really construct anything either. They mostly just sleep somewhere and then swim around. Drowners are mostly nomadic. They'll move where they need to go. With the damage you've caused tonight, your professional opinion, Ariel, as a witcher, would be to maybe re-inspect the pier in the morning. But if it's been emptied out of drowners, if they fled, it's unlikely they will return.
Alright, and I'll just say to him, first thing in the morning, we'll just have to inspect that pier and see if there's any left. And if those drowners got scared off by our little ambush, they won't come back.
We should burn it down just to be safe. But that is a job for the morning. Are you feeling better, Ilona? Your clothes seem to be beginning to dry.
I will be once I've finished this.
Very good.
At least.
At least.
And as she's just saying this, she's just gonna take her first drink. She hasn't even drinking anything yet. This will be her first drink.
Yeah, there's still so many glasses on the platter.
Yep. I have 3 of them. I'm just gonna drink it slowly. I'm not even just gonna shoot it down. I'm just gonna drink it slowly.
Edric doesn't touch anything other than ale. Like he'll order some if he has to, but he won't touch any of the harder stuff.
Well, we can trade, the 3 shots for a glass of ale. It's not a problem. Is there anything else the 4 of you wanted to do tonight at the inn?
Yes, I want to talk to all the people. I want to make friends.
Sure. A lot of them are quote unquote faceless NPCs. A few like the old man, Horst or Miriam, you've seen because they've either interacted with you a bit during the night. For most of the rest, if you want to talk to them, you can absolutely talk to them.
I want to talk to the most attractive person in the room.
That would be Miriam.
Sweet. I'll go chat up Miriam.
You just get up and swagger onto the bar.
Yeah. It's very kind of you to be doing all of this for us.
It's very kind of you to hunt down the beast of Oxenfurt.
Well, I won't be doing much of the hunting, as you can see. And she points again to her wet everything. I'm not very useful.
I'm sure you have your uses in your group. And she looks at your mandolin on the hearth, and she's like, do you perchance play for, I don't know, the morale, or you tell tales of their adventures?
Well, this is all very new. I travel with the knight, and I talk. He fights things. That's how it works. But you can't really talk to a drowner or a beast. So I hope to live to tell the tale of the slaying of the beast of Oxenfurt.
I'm sure you will. This brave knight, and she looks in Kahir's direction, looks well armored and very capable.
Oh, he is. He's quite. He's very strong, and good in battle, and has a very good heart. Really like the knights in the old tales with values and honor.
Are you loud enough that anybody else can hear you?
Probably
Loud enough
She's
so that
probably-
Kahir can hear you?
She's probably like, that like drunk person speaking very loud
Mhm.
kind of thing. So if Kahir would like to Kahir,
Ah.
Good job. I'm proud.
It's up to you, Steven.
he's
Yeah. I would like to. Kahir likes hearing nice things about himself.
She says, well, you certainly seem to have an eye for your brave Sir Knight.
Oh, I mean, have you seen him?
I have.
Alas, he is not available. He is romantically going off to save his lost lady love.
Worthy of a ballad.
Yes, that's why I'm traveling with him. Also, he saved my life, and, well, I feel indebted to him to help in any small way that I can.
And is he unable to provide companionship during your travels?
Not the kind that I would like, unfortunately, but I respect his honor.
It's the very first time I hear a tale of a non-human traveling with a human and nothing going wrong for the non-human. This is very strange.
Well, he is, and she'll lower her voice. He is from Nilfgaard, and the Dwan there are quite a bit nicer to us.
Call me a patriot, but I'm not really into the black ones. I'll leave them to the elves and the other Nilfgaardians.
Well,
I'm not against elves or dwarves. I mean, you are welcome to stay here at any time, is what I meant.
oh, okay. I mean, look, I tell you this in confidence. I know you Northern Dwan are very strange about all of that. But he really is a good and honorable man.
Miss... What's your name?
Ilona.
Miss Ilona, the war's been over for 10 years. My husband's been gone for 10 years fighting the Black Ones. I am sure this brave Sir Knight is too young to have fought in the war. He's in the north. He has his reasons to be. He's not putting my end to the torch. He can stay. It's just I would rather not get or try to get involved with someone from the south, despite what you might have heard. I would keep an eye on him.
Oh. What? All right. Well,
I'm just saying.
I'm very sorry that you've lost your husband. I know what it's like to lose the love of your life.
Yes, it's and she reaches down behind the bar and gets a bottle for herself, and she's like, it's a hole that can only be filled with meaningless booze.
Yes.
And
yes.
owning an establishment.
Yes, that is, I find, the best way. But there are other ways. That
She doesn't
are-
say anything, but her eyes say go on.
Have you ever been with an elf?
I don't know if I want to turn that into a verbal combat. I don't think I will. She says she is flustered. And, no, why would I? I mean, not that this isn't, I mean, this is very forthcoming of you.
Well, you're a very beautiful woman, and I'm a very beautiful woman, and we are both without the men we love.
Are all
That
elves
doesn't
this
mean
way?
we have to be sad or unsatisfied for the rest of our lives.
Well, this night certainly took a turn for the interesting.
Is it that I'm a woman? Have you never been with a woman?
I mean, I did a year at the Oxenfurt Academy. I had to drop out to help Ma and Pa, but you know what they say. The Academy is a good place to experiment. But it... Make a seduction check.
Yeah, Ilona will touch her hand and say,
Don't overthink it.
Make a seduction roll.
okay.
And I mean, the moment you touch her hand, her knees buckle, and she's like, "Oh, I have to." All right, last call, people. Last call for the night. I'm feeling rather weak tonight. We're gonna have to, and these travelers have been through a lot. Please, and she's just gonna close the establishment, close the inn, close the bar. For those who are maybe new, Ilona is a master at seduction, and there is literally nothing she cannot seduce.
This isn't even my final form. If only I was not in the north.
Yeah, that would be like the day you guys go to Dal Blathana is just going to be like
Or at least even Nilfgaard.
even Nilfgaard.
Yeah.
No, it's not gonna affect me there. I'm still hated there.
No, but
But she's gonna be unstoppable.
Oh,
I will be base 18.
Mind you, in Dal Blathana, even Ariella wouldn't have her penalty anymore.
True.
yeah. I just meant in Nilfgaard, I'd still be hated there.
So we'll fast forward to
Do I get a trading card?
yes,
Oh.
you get.
Oh,
Sorry,
come on.
trading card.
You've been corrupted.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
She's
had
played
to
too
make
much of the first
I
one.
had to make it at least once. I had
You-
to make
you
at least
know-
one trading card joke.
You do know that if we were like known any more than if we were moderately popular, there would be trading cards. Not that we order them or anything. Like, just
I
saying
mean,
it.
if you're watching and you would like to make me trading cards,
Oh my god.
I won't say
I think I know what you mean. From The Witcher 1, you get like special.
from The Witcher 1, you get trading cards every time you have sex with a lady, and it's super weird.
Do we have to start a counter? Like,
Please
number
don't
of
actually
times
make me
Alona?
trading
Okay.
cards, because it's super weird.
It's super weird. But still, in the morning.
Before,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, there was like one more
No
thing.
problem.
Everybody else is like heading up to bed.
Mhm.
Edric is just gonna kind of like pull Ariel out to the side. Ari, I don't feel entirely safe here. Do you think you could do me a favor?
She just glares at him for a second. Goes, but you're sleeping on the floor.
No. That's not what I meant. I will take your bags to your room. Can you do a just a lap around the inn just to make sure that no one is watching? We drew a lot of attention tonight. I want to make sure no one's going to try something stupid. It'll take 5 minutes.
Well, there's a lot of stupid people in this world, especially liars. But fine. It's better be safe than sorry. And she just leaves.
All right. Edric will take her stuff up to her room, and while he's like setting the bag down, he will pull out the small little box with a flower iconography on it that he grabbed out of the dresser, and he's just going to tuck it into like the bottom of her bag, and then go to his room and head to bed.
Wow.
All right. It has been noted.
Yep. I'm just gonna do a loop around the inn to see if I
Alright.
see what trying to do something stupid with this.
Make a is it perception? I keep
Awareness?
Yeah, it's awareness in this one.
Yeah.
No, wait, it's not just awareness. It
It's
is there needs to be a skill that goes with that.
I'm
I'm still not like 100% on the name of the skills.
Awareness is an intelligence skill.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, sorry. I had See, I mixed it up with
Guys,
World
it's
of
okay.
Darkness.
Like, whatever, I have to like spend 5 minutes look at the sheet to like get out of the
Yeah.
too.
But it is an awareness check.
Okay, that's what I'm good at.
Cool.
Alright, and 21.
There is nothing, but like not just like, oh, there's nothing. It's like there's way too quiet nothing. Like when even the like owls or night insects or whatever like have stopped making noise. It really does add to the whole feel of like the entire village is cursed. But you go around the inn and you've even like gone a few paces out like to make sure, you know, not just the immediate vicinity. You haven't found any drowners, any tracks of any monsters or whatever. You've encountered a few of the people leaving the inn, and that's when you decide to come back as you hear the like little bell that Miriam was ringing to signal the last call and the closing of the bar.
Okay.
You get to your room, your stuff is there. You all spend a comfortable night for some, a very comfortable night for others. Or awkward.
Can we just have careless whispers going?
Not my style.
There's a in the morning, there's a sort of awkwardness between Alona and Miriam.
Oh.
Or
I
between
didn't
Miriam,
want-
at the very least. She seems to be sort of like shyer. Or
Oh. I wanted
I
it
don't
to
know.
be like very like affirming and just like
oh yeah, it's just she's still.
nice. We just like had a nice time together.
Oh, she did. She's just still in that moment in the morning,
Oh, okay.
and then there's other people, and that's what's uh giving off that impression, or at least making her blush. You are served a very rudimentary breakfast. This is not an inn per se. It's mostly just a tavern. It's not made to cater to travelers much, but Miriam scrapes a bunch of stuff together and makes you breakfast. And she says if you needed to, she can point you out to Rajimish's hut outside of town. Because people have talked about it. Yep, last night. Yes.
How much stamina do we get from sleeping?
So you, because you've slept, regain everything.
Yay! I get my health back.
Stamina and health actually doesn't come back, all of it though.
Oh, I only lost 2.
Oh, I think yeah, 2. No, 2. You're gonna regain it anyway.
I only lost 2 that night.
Yeah,
2
it's
stamina or 2 hit points?
no, I meant hit points.
Okay.
Because basically, characters begin healing health points naturally over time if blah blah blah. Oh, you actually need someone to help you to regain it, apparently.
Oh, really? I'm still stuck at 38?
So what you would do is you need someone to make a first aid roll.
Dang.
Oh, no, wait. If you do your first aid... I'll do that again. If you succeed on a first aid roll, you'll regain a number of hit points equal to your recovery stat
Oh,
per
okay.
day of rest. Otherwise, it's half of it.
So I just gained 1?
Half your rec.
Half my wreck.
Yeah, so your rec...
Oh,
Yeah.
8.
recovery. Yeah, so you would regain... So you regain 4 every night. We'll
Okay,
do it that way.
So it's still gonna be like 4, and I've only lost 2. So
So you're good.
I'm still at the full health.
Well, you just had like a scratch,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
As far as stamina, we'll say it comes back completely. Because honestly, I'm not gonna go around and like calculate like the time it takes that you sleep and everything and how much you would regain versus whatever. It goes all the way up to full. But I'll remind you, for every hour that you stay awake, you're going to lose 2 points of stamina. And I'll try to keep track of them in my mind and let you know when we start a new scene where you should be at that point.
Alright.
So, you are about to head out. Like she says, she can point out where the hut is if you need to. If you need a tour of the village or anything, just let her know. She can take a few minutes during the day. Would rather you do it before sundown. And please, by all means, and she looks at Ilona, do not venture near the river again.
Oh, I'm never going near that river ever again.
Well, Ari and I need to take care of inspecting the drowner nest to make sure that they are gone. So if you give us a couple minutes, we will take care of it.
All right. Perhaps. Here,
It is.
we could go speak to that Radimich fellow, or look into where he lived, or.
That sounds like a good idea.
If he is hexed, you will need me with you. It will only take us a couple of minutes. And he points right to the dock, which is like just on the edge of town, which is like not even 5 minutes walk from where we.
Well, all 4 of you could go to the pier and then head out to the hut, since it is on the way anyway.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
it's
then-
not in two opposite ends of the. It's not on two opposite ends of the village. It's like there's a small detour, but it's gonna cost you like a
And I
couple
also
minutes.
gotta go get my horse, and we also gotta tell Gutsfield bad news about Huff.
That would take you a few more hours though,
Yeah.
because you'd have to travel the other way around.
Yeah.
we can take care of that on the way back to Oxenfurt.
Yeah, once everything is done. I mean,
Yeah,
he
what-
might freak out for a few nights more, but what are a few nights over the past couple months? You get to the pier, and in the daylight you notice it is rotten. The boat that was tied to it, remember I said there was like a boat with like a hole in it, a small rowboat. It is there. It is filled with algae, and salt has done quite a number to it inside. The pier itself is crooked. One of the planks has just fallen off into the river. It doesn't seem to have been used or seen any use in a couple seasons, maybe. Like, it doesn't seem like the people that live at the edge of the swamp do much fishing. Or if they do, they probably fish with nets from the riverside instead of from the bank instead of, from the river itself. But it's very moldy wood. It's easily destroyable.
Can I take a closer look to see if I see any more drowner activity in there? Any evidence of any like leave?
Yes, that would be a in this case not necessarily a Witcher test. I think I would go with tracking.
Tracking.
I mean, like, I didn't write the right one in my note.
Where's I have wilderness survival.
Yeah, I think that's what it. No, wilderness survival is just to survive in the wilds. I think. Is it?
Okay.
Surviving a tracking prey? No, it's wilderness survival. All right,
Yeah.
sorry, my
Okay.
bad.
Okay.
And it would be a it's a DC 16 in this
Oh,
case.
that's a big one to do. 18.
And you got it. So looking
Yay.
around, you notice. You remember last night there was one drowner that fled. You can see the tracks now in the muck. It hid under the pier. It disturbed whatever was in the mud around there. And then left. It actually crossed the river. Like you can see, even from where you are, you just looked on the other side and you saw a few tracks and you're like, okay, so it basically crossed the river and just headed out into the wilderness, into the swamp of Velen.
Yep, so this thing's ain't coming back.
Nah, it'll probably find another group of drowner and like settle with them. Or be devoured by them.
Yep.
Either
I'm gonna look over to Egypt said, well, there's one and it fled over that way. Shouldn't be able to come back.
Well, let's make sure that they never come back. And he waits for Ariel to step aside, and then he just flicks his wrist out, and a ball of fire just engulfs it, and he just uses Ayenye and throws out to destroy the...
I was gonna use my Igni! Gosh darn it.
You hear peasants yell at you as you burn the pier down. They're like, what are you doing? What is this madness? And there's like 4 of them that were just walking around. They're coming. One of them has a pitchfork because peasants have pitchforks.
Getting rid of a drowner lair.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, damn it!
You're the one that spoke. You're the one that makes it.
Can Kier help?
Yes, in 1 sentence or less.
I was thinking helping more with an action by turning
sure.
and kind of putting himself between like them and the group, kind of looking a little menacing. As soon as the pitchfork comes in, it's like Kair sees it as like being defensive.
All right, then in that case, I would say, Jillian, you can make an intimidation check instead.
Okay.
I think you're better at intimidation than
I
persuasion.
am. Where's that intimidation?
So, like, as soon as the peasants get within, like, 20 paces of you, Kahir steps in from his high... how tall are you? Kahir? Like 6 feet?
6 foot? Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty tall for a warrior.
I don't see. Where's intimidation? I don't see it.
Oh, wait.
Is it will?
But then that'd be a courage.
No, it's a will skill. It's underneath hex weaving.
Yeah, it's right under hex weaving.
Oh, there it is.
Intimidation.
I have none, but okay.
They also have none.
Okay.
So the number to beat is 9. Well, there you go.
Yes!
So you don't have, like, your hated... but because you're feared, you actually have a bonus to that.
Oh,
so
I
that would be
do?
11.
But
It's okay. They back away as soon as you say, like, you have a drowner problem. And one of them just elbows the one that was talking. He's like, yeah, see, she's got 2 swords. She's one of them witcher folk. And that's the wizard from last night. The mage that was seen at the leaky barge with the elf and the other people. And they, like, retreat, grumbling and mumbling to themselves about, like, all these strange folk coming into town and burning stuff, but it's, like, for the good of the people, and what strange times we live in.
I guess Gusfield owes me a payment now. We'll get it on our way back.
Indeed. Well then, shall we go meet this Radzionitz?
I guess so.
Sounds good.
Of course.
You head out to Rajimish's hut, and it smells, the closer you get to it, smells strongly of ammonia. And that's where we're gonna take a break.
He's been cleaning.
He's a clean freak.
We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, folks.
Okay.
See you later. Muted, and we're back. So, we were on our way to a hut outside of town that smelled weirdly of ammonia.
Can I just real fast, smelling the ammonia,
So,
can I make like an education or deduction check to like just quickly analyzing the way the ammonia smells? Like, is this like a pea ammonia, or is this like a concentrated ammonia, like a
so
chemical
you don't need to roll, because as people that live in that world, you would know. A hut outside of town, smell of ammonia. This is a tanner. This is a leather worker. And yes, it's pea ammonia because this is what they had to work with at the time. It is disgusting. And cameras are messed up because yes. All right, let me just fix that.
I get to be here, Kerdwin, Epiver. If you can say the name correctly, you get to take over Steven's spot. But no one can say the name, so he's assured his position.
It's like a if you say the name, you have complete control over them.
That's it.
Okay, here's
I was
going
muted
back
when I
to
said
the
that, but look, I'm Edric the liar.
Oh, such shade.
Wow. Like, she is not going to let you live. That should work. Yeah, I still have to fix it.
Her mood for you is sour like these pickles.
But that happened like years ago.
I mean,
Yes.
this is the first time they've seen each other since then.
Yeah, I know.
It's been 5 years, but I'm a mage and she's a witcher, so that's like 5 minutes, kind of.
Like 5 days.
Which is kind of true. I mean, when you think about it, you guys live
Although-
for so long that a
Although
year
we're pretty-
is... Huh?
We're pretty young for witchers and mages. So I don't know. But that's all backstory stuff, Jillian. Shh.
Yeah,
shh.
nobody's supposed to know about that.
Nobody's supposed to know about the backstories.
Backstories are bad guys.
Everyone,
Yeah.
Have you been reading
pretend
Twitter?
Did not hear any of this. This is all out of character. You should know when hears this.
No, everything's fine between everyone. There is no inter-party drama. So, it's a tanner's hut. And being a tanner's hut, it smells like pee. The thing is the closer you get, the more you realize that there's not just pee. And then I would ask Idric if you want to roll to make your education roll.
Oh, the smell must be so horrible for Ariella right now. Ooh.
You
24.
smell, and I mean, even Ariella smells it, but maybe she's used to it that she doesn't really necessarily clue in right away. But it also smells of rotting meat.
Rotting meat. Something is wrong here. Be alert, please.
I will go into alert mode.
You walk up. His hut is like on a small hill. There's, as you get closer, you notice all of these like tanning racks outside behind the hut, like in a small fenced-in area. Fenced mostly to keep like wild dogs or wolves at bay, not to prevent like theft or anything. You guys can just almost just walk over the fence if you wanted. There is a door. There's about a like 2-inch crack at the top of the door, just because it doesn't really hold that well. There's quite a few empty wooden buckets and clay jars, clay pots in around his house, around the entrance, and upturned earth here and there, all over his yard. Just like if someone dig up something and then just like interred it again, or turned the earth for something. Like, it doesn't have any pattern, so it's not like if they were trying to start a garden or anything. It's just these like spots. Like if you have like a dog that just goes crazy in your backyard and just digs up holes and then buries like a rock and then buries it back up. Like, it's just small, about yay big holes of upturned earth here and there. There's like a good 20-ish of them at first glance. There's no smoke coming out of the chimney, and there's no noise coming from the hut. What do you do?
I think Kahir steps in front of Ilona and says, maybe we'll wait out here and let them go see.
All right. I mean, okay.
Oh. Thank you.
I mean, Kahir, she can make her own decision, but it does appear to be a small hut.
It's about like 10 feet by 10 feet. It's like a shed.
He turns to Idric and says, of course she can make her own decisions. But why would I want to put her in harm's way?
It just shrugs and then knocks on the door. So that's what you do in polite society.
When you knock on the door just opens. You don't even need to put a lot of pressure on it. It's loose so much that it just opens up.
Is my medallion vibrating at this point?
Oh, that's a good question. I forgot you have that.
I forgot this important thing about being a witcher.
Yeah, I forgot they have
I have a
the
medallion
detect
that-
magic all the time. No, actually, it does not. Aha!
All right. Real fast.
Yep.
I'm going to cast control copy telepathy on Ariella. It's active. I think it's like there wasn't a good place to put in duration, or there wasn't a duration in the book, but it's it allows me to telepathically communicate with her for the duration of the spell.
What's the page in the... Oh, I think I got it. Magic telepathy. So the duration is active. It's one... Thank you. One stamina per... Active one. Oh, it's one stamina per turn.
Oh, never mind. Gonna back up off that telepathy.
Well,
then.
no,
I
no,
thought-
because wait, the spell. So the spell costs like 2 stamina, which is offset by your like magical trinkets, right?
Yeah, but I can never go below 1.
That is true. So it would still cost 1.
Right.
I mean, it's 1 stamina per turn, which means that for an entire minute, it would cost you 6 stamina points.
Yeah, I'm just gonna back off it for a second. I thought it was
Sure.
gonna be like
All right.
a stamina a minute. So, Edric looks like he's going to cast a spell and then thinks better of it, and then is gonna walk in and kind of call out, "Hello, is anybody home?"
There is no sound.
So when Ariella just follows Edric into the house, does she notice anything off or odd? about
Do any of you enter the house, or at least peer inside?
I'm gonna peer inside.
It's a 1-room shack with packed dirt floor covered in hay. There's a small bed, a small sort of like table, I guess, with a chest underneath it. There's a rickety chair. There's a shelf upon which is hung tanning tools and leatherworking tools. And
Is
nobody.
Is the smell of rotting meat stronger in here?
From inside, it's less.
This is strange, Ari.
How so?
I don't know, but I have a gut feeling about it. You remember when we were tracking those neckers?
Yeah?
They burrowed underneath us. I'm feeling a little like that. I'd like to check the floor to see if there's any like signs of burrowing in the hut. Maybe like under the bed or something, like a tunnel inside the hut.
Like a place that couldn't be like readily seen when you come in.
Right.
Like something that would work well for an ambush, perhaps.
Yeah, that.
So make an
I'm not
awareness
sure I
check. Make an
Okay,
awareness check.
Okay, so
Can I help him with this awareness check as well?
Sure. To be fair, you can roll one as well, and we'll just take the highest of the two.
Alright. I'll roll one as well.
15.
I rolled the same thing!
Looks like it's going to be a 15.
I'm gonna spend a luck point to turn it into a 16.
Wow!
So there's nothing inside. But you notice something. There's a shovel that's been discarded under the bed. The shovel is caked in earth. Like, it dried off. It must have been wet earth at some point, but the shovel isn't, like, it's not completely dirty. It's just, like, the first, like, third of it.
Okay. Adric will lean forward and kind of investigate it, and he's going to pull off a piece of dirt. He's going to smell it, then taste it before kind of crumpling up in his hands. Is he able to kind of determine anything from it? Like he's educated, and so he's got time as a detective. He's just like, is there anything off tasting about this dirt? He's
Well,
looking for strange non-dirt flavors.
as a Northman, you're also used to eating dirt, and this one tastes like regular dirt, like the one you would find outside.
Okay. Then he's gonna grab the shovel and go, I think we need to start digging, Ari. I want to know what this Radomir is burying. If he is cursed or hexed, it could be bad for the whole town.
Well, I can agree with that. But my medallion's not sensing anything around this hut. So if it was magic or monster, it's not here.
It could just be a symptom of the curse. He could be killing animals and burying them. It's hard to say. I need more information.
While this is happening... Oh, sorry.
Then let's get digging.
While this is happening, do Kahir and Ilona do anything outside? Anything special, aside from just hanging out outside the door of the hut?
I think Kahir may like I kind of imagine there's like like the road leads up to here, but there may be like a fence or whatnot. I think Kahir may like walk over towards the fence and like try and peer around just to, you know, get a sense of the scene.
So, like, just get a global picture of
Right,
where
right.
you are. And you, Ilona?
I mean, I don't know. She's so out of her depth. Is everything all right, Kia?
He's like, I think so.
That he
Can I,
notices something.
Right.
As you're looking around and just making sure you get like the big picture, you notice that the tanned hides that are still, for those that are still on racks in back of the house, now that you're just, you know, looking around and you've walked like to and fro just to get a sense of the surroundings, there seems to have been marked with something. Like, you know how you would mark cattle with a brand, or you would brand cattle with a brand? Good lord. But if you brand them too hard, it sears into the leather and it actually blackens or darkens because it's burnt. Like, way too burnt. It's like that. All of them have this, like, foot-wide seal, it seems. Somewhere. Not necessarily in the middle. Sometimes it's like half of one on a side. They're not all equally big. So it's not like a bunch of cow skins or deer skins. Like, one of them's a fox skin. One of them looks like sheepskin, maybe. Another one is probably a horse because it is massive. But this, like, big circular seal is on each of them.
Do you recognize that?
I was just about to ask what you would make of it.
What do I make of it?
Well, you can either go into the backyard to look it up, or if you want to remain where you are in front of the house, I'm gonna ask an awareness check. Because you're gonna have to like.
I would want to stay with, like, what do you think here? Do you want to go back and look at it? Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll go to the back.
All right. So as you go to the back, the other two are gonna come out of the hut. But I'll do the back first. You notice these are all circles. Burnt as well as they could, and some of them where they couldn't be burnt were just marked in charcoal. They're circles made out of skulls.
Ugh.
Either tiny human-like skulls or like tiny animal-like skulls. Most of them are about an inch long. And they make more or less a circular pattern.
Are they like sewn into the leather or
Either burnt
okay.
or drawn crudely. It's like, now that you're very close to it, you see that maybe half of them are like poor attempts at drawing the same circle over and over or burning it in. But one, like the sheepskin, has one of the best circles, and it is like there's like maybe like 4 or 5 or 6, you're not quite sure, like human skulls, and then some of them look like cow skulls with like horns, and others look like a random animal. Like it's not drawn well enough that you could easily identify it, but you're like, yeah, it could be like a, I don't know, a big rodent or a wolf maybe. It's like a oblong type of skull. It's like, okay, sure. But it's enough to close the circle. Like all of them. And they're all looking as if they were, like if you were looking at the circle from the top, they would all be looking at you. Like it's not like they're they haven't been arranged to make like a line or something. Like it's just you know, looking at the viewer.
This is
strange.
troubling.
I think Kahir would like kneel down in front of one of them, maybe touch them. Are they like what's the word? Embossed?
Those that have been branded in the skin, yes, they're embossed. And then as you move your hand along, those that were drawn in charcoal, it comes off easily. It rubs off and it's all over your fingers.
Cool. I definitely wipe my fingers off.
Does this look like any... Is there some sort of cult or...
I was thinking about the same thing. I hate to sound like you're a normal northerner, but is this black magic?
Perhaps we should ask the mage.
Kahir sighs and is like, perhaps.
Kahir, seems like a good man.
They killed my parents.
He didn't kill your parents.
He kind of has a bashful second where he looks away from you and kind of nods his head, but he doesn't say anything.
Oh.
Yes, I am muted because I pressed on a key by mistake. I hate shortcuts. There was a breeze. Follow the breeze to the front of the hut. There we see Idrik and Ariella digging up one of the upturned earth. place.
Yeah. Idrik is digging,
You-
and he's going at it because he wants to see what's buried under. He has suspicions, but he's not sure.
You don't need
So-
to dig much. It's actually buried about like 6 inches deep, maybe.
Oh, wow,
Like a
that's-
third of the shovel. And as soon as you flip over that first like shovel worth of dirt, you smell the stench of putrefying meat. The carcass of a big, what would have been a big squirrel before.
Is it missing its head?
Define missing.
Adric will kneel down into it, like his face kind of just goes completely blank, and he kind of starts muttering to himself incomprehensibly, and he's looking to see if its head basically has been severed from its body.
So, you turn the maggot riddled carcass around, and you notice one thing. The skin of the head is still there, but the skull is missing. As if someone expertedly skinned the head, removed the skull, and just discarded the remains. Like they were only interested in the skull. And then buried them, but they buried them so like shallow, close to the surface of the earth, that the smell of probably all of these holes are probably all carcasses of animals. It's just, and it must have been done like within the past week, 2 weeks, not even.
How many holes? How many?
There's like
mountains?
20 of them, maybe more. Especially, that's something I forgot here in Ilona, but in the backyard, there are other holes, but this time these ones are bigger. Like, if Idrik found one that was like squirrel-sized, you guys must have found some that were sheep, goat-sized, human-sized.
Audie. He pulls out a notebook, and he marks down squirrel carcass. And he's kind of thinking to himself and going in through his thoughts, thinking about rituals that might require this, or like curses that might do this. Rather, not rituals, curses or hexes that might cause obsessive collection of things like this.
So, you can roll either hex weaving or ritual crafting. Depending on if you're looking at, is this a component for a ritual, or is there like hex based, have to collect heads or something, like a curse that you've heard before that could have caused that.
Would it not be a magical training?
Oh, you're a wizard. That's true. Go with
Yeah.
magical training in your case because you have the catch-all. Yes,
22.
22.
you know everything. So here's what you know. Skulls are often used in necromantic rituals. Any sort of like black magic, but like the worst of the worst. We're not talking about speaking to the spirits of the departed. We're talking about raising the dead. We're talking about controlling undead creatures that made it on our side after the conjunction of the spheres. We're talking soul trading. We're talking, especially if all of these mounds are missing their heads, we're talking about something big.
Adi, Adi, I need you to go and into the town and get shovels and men. We need to gather up all of these corpses, and we need to get them in and buried deeply and burnt. Otherwise, we could draw neckers to the area. Understand?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll pay 50 crowns extra for whatever this nonsense is. And
Done. It just goes.
All right. As you're rushing into town to get like hands to help, can you make a reflexive Witcher training test?
Witcher training.
Yeah. So you're just running into town and thinking about what you just saw and what
17.
all right, and what Idrik said. And you're not sure, but you know that, you know, it could be like a black magician or something, like an evil magician, I should say, an evil mage. Or you think that there are some monsters that collect skulls, but you just don't remember any, like, off the top of your head like that would have this strange compulsion at collecting. Like, oh, dragons hoard stuff, yes, but, like, dragons aren't tanners that hide half dismembered bodies throughout their lawn. Though that would be a very
Yeah.
weird dragon.
I don't kill dragons either.
Well, not by yourself anyway, that's for sure.
I think there's some rule that we can't fight dragons anymore.
No, they're almost extinct species, and they're also very, very sapient. So you don't really kill those.
No.
That being said, it'll take about like 50 minutes. You'll get back with like 3 peasants. One of which is Miriam. And meanwhile, oh yes, Idrik.
When Ilona and Kahir come around, Edric is just kind of is digging furiously.
Well, that's where I was going to. Kahir and Ilona, do you come back to the front of the hut after your discovery?
I mean, is there anything else interesting to look at back here?
I mean, if you want to dig up the holes in the backyard, if you want to, if there's
really,
anything you want to do. Otherwise,
actually, there is
Yeah.
something Ilona wants to do. So Ilona always wears perfume.
Mhm.
And it's lavender scented, and so she's gonna take some and put it on a handkerchief and give it to Kahir, and then do some for herself on like another handkerchief, to help with the smell.
Thank you. It's appreciated.
it does a very good job at blocking most of the smell until you get to the front of the hut where Idrik has been digging up those bodies.
Oh my god!
And then there's just like this whiff of...
And she, like, Ilona will like reflexively like turn around so she's not looking. What are you doing?
The tanner has been collecting the skulls of these animals. I need to see if there is any evidence of humans.
Well, there are much larger holes back there, and symbols, skulls, branded into the skins.
What symbols?
Yes, like a circle made of skulls.
Does this sound? Is this ringing any mage bells in my head?
Maybe. Give me a second. I have to make sure of the skill this time, because I think your magical training doesn't work in this specific instance. It's gonna take me just a second. I have to get to the page. There we go. I got it. All right, and it is. No, go with magical training. Magical training would work.
You know what? I'm gonna spend another luck point and make that an even 20.
Good, because the number was 20. And something rings a bell. a sort of ritual called a skull circle. It's something that is not commonly used because it shouldn't be used at all. So you know how magic circles can protect people from creatures they summon or like increase their magical abilities when they have like a ritual to enact or something. A skull circle draws power from the devils that live in the void between the worlds. It attracts their attention and it empowers the caster whenever they need to command an undead army. You know that there are some creatures, it's called them monsters. Ariella must have mentioned it at some point in your life, that were also inclined to create skull circles. You're not sure which, but you're like, I seem to remember, like, it's not just mages. There are other creatures that do the same thing. Whether they're actually outsiders in the D&D term, like they're devils from outside this world or not, you wouldn't be sure. One thing you know for sure, it's not drowners or neckers.
This is very bad. This is very, very, very bad. And Edric's just gonna drop the shovel and go investigate the skins to like confirm his suspicions. And seeing them is just like, oh, this is very bad.
Your suspicions are confirmed. And at this moment, Ariella arrives with all the peasants, and one of them just retches as soon as they get within smelling distance of the mountains.
Ariella, things have taken a turn for the worse. I need you to, before we dig up any more, see if you can find out any tracks of where Red Zamir is, where he might have gone, or any evidence in his hut. And then we are going to collect all of these bodies, burn them, and this accursed hut. They're trying to make a skull circle. It's very dark magic, very evil. It draws on the power of devils.
Ah, shit.
One thing you remember, Idric, as you're saying this, you haven't seen the skulls anywhere. To make a skull circle, you need to have the actual skulls. Whoever collected them.
They're not here. Yes. Hoff. No head. It likely wasn't even the drowners. It was likely from whoever is making this circle. And we need... And all of these piles are skullless. We need to take care of the bodies first, and then we also need to track them down. But we dig, you track, but stay close. I don't know if it's a monster or a mage. And then Edric's gonna like run back, grab the shovel, and he's gonna start checking all of the larger piles in the back, looking for human corpses.
All right.
I think like she's gonna side herself because she is become a little concerned because she has Idra only freaks out like this when it's severely serious, and she may be slightly mad at him, but she knows this how freaked out this can get. And she's gonna put all that aside for now. And
all right.
she's going to seriously go look for those tracks. Or anything.
Cool. As you do that, the whole digging of the corpses is going to take about an hour. we'll assume for the sake of the game, you're taking also an hour to track around, and you'll mysteriously arrive when it's narratively convenient. But what do Kahir and Ilona do during that hour? Do you lend a hand to the peasants? Do you want to go off with Ariella, or do you want to do anything else?
I think Kahir would probably lend a hand to the peasants.
Okay.
Before he goes, Ilona's just gonna like grab Kahir's hand and kind of pull him back and say, Kahir, I'm scared.
I too have to admit that this is beyond me. I feel like I should help, though, in any way that I can. I won't be far.
Okay. Ilona will go inside and look for anything like personal effects.
I'm
oh.
sorry. I was going to say, as she turns, I think Kahir will call out to her again and just say, "We'll get through this."
Okay.
All right. Searching through personal effects.
Yeah. For like journals that are like, hey, this is where I left my evil skull circle.
Wouldn't it be fun if that was the case?
That just make my job a lot easier.
It would. It would. I had found.
But nothing in this world is easy. Unless you roll high.
Yeah, nothing in this world is easy unless Simon asks for a roll, in which case you guys succeed with no consequence anytime. Okay, so
That'd
there's...
be a quote. Can that be just like a quote of sorts? Life isn't easy unless you roll high. I can so imagine that as a shirt.
Oh, there we go. I got it. Lauren, can you roll 3d100, please?
Okay.
And give me the numbers each time.
Okay.
Not don't total them together.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna roll 3d100 on the thing, and
Yeah,
it'll
sure.
give me this. It'll give me the separate things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how Roll20 works.
Mm-hmm. It's just because one monitor, so I can't see the results.
Oh, so a 63, a 3, and a 68.
All right, 63, a 3, and a 68. All right, you find in all of his stuff, you notice that the chest has been mostly emptied out. You find a few nails for a tent, a piece of canvas that is also apparently when you pull it out of the chest, something heavy was in it. A strange shittingly carved statuette of what appears to be a hunched woman, older woman, like a crone is the word I'm looking for. But really, you need quite a bit of imagination to see it. It needs to be under the proper light. It's unfinished, that's for sure. And you also find the instruments that were used, like the chisel, to start carving this. What you don't find in the chest is everything else. Clothes. If that person had utensils or whatever, or anything, hats, cloaks, gold crowns, there's nothing. Whoever this Rajmich was, before they left, they emptied out pretty much everything that they had, aside from the tanning tools?
Can I use like, because I have like fine arts, like would that tell me anything about like some kind of like symbology of the crone or
Sure.
something?
You can appraise the statuette and become very pedantic when talking about the statuette to other people.
I was about to say, using that art history degree to your,
Yeah.
to your advantage. As someone who took art history, I approve.
Yeah, you have to make pedantic remarks. So, The Crone in Art, an essay by Simon. What you know of like crone symbology is basically, you know, what we would know about like the old hag that normally deals in either great wisdom and protection magic or great evil and destructive magic. Often cults that are dedicated to the crone, especially in The Witcher, she is sort of embodied.
It's one of the three goddesses, right?
Yeah,
Like,
one of the three goddesses associated with Melitelli, the cult of Melitelli. So she's not seen as very much evil in most circles, most clergy, or at least those that follow the old religions. But for a lot of superstitious folks, the crone is not someone that you want to mess with. Someone that you are due respect to because of who that person is. You know, the whole respect your elder, and you know, older people have more wisdom to part with than younger people and all that. Why would a tanner carve a statue to a crone? That's kind of borderline culty following. Like, there's no other symbols in this place that would mark this person as like a follower of a particular religion or anything. So, yeah. Otherwise, there's another word that goes with crone, which is hag, which is normally associated with an evil spirit or creature that abducts children, mostly.
okay. Yeah. She'll if that's all she finds.
You also find that this statuette has absolutely no resale value whatsoever.
Oh damn. In the right circles though.
You could probably make it worth something by bullshitting your way into an art gallery.
I do not want to do that with the evil statue. Yeah. She'll spend an hour and then looking through and then conveniently come back when it's not gross and show them the statue.
All right. Before we go to the people that are unearthing cadavers outside, Ariella,
Hello.
you're looking for tracks, right? And that brings you beyond the hut. There's like a small sort of like wooded area. It's mostly just like about like 5 rows of trees, and then you would end up in another farmer's field. And so trying to follow the tracks of this particular tanner, Regimish, and where they went, you found a set of tracks that aren't, you know, hidden in any way. Like, he didn't try to cover his tracks or whatnot, and they lead to the field. And so you enter the field. And what you find there is, I don't know if I should say stranger, or if it adds to the mystery or not, but
It's just not interesting to say that.
well, no, it's interesting because it doesn't fit the whole thing. There are two dead horses hidden in the field, partially eaten. one of them more than another. You notice that there are pieces of broken blades and multiple arrows. And there is even, next to one of the broken blades, a tooth about that big.
Curiouser and curiouser.
But the two horses have their heads.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was gonna ask. Looks like this is one of the victims. Can I investigate this little crime scene to see what has happened here? And also, I'm interested in that tooth.
Sure. For the tooth, I would ask a Witcher training.
Okay.
For the rest, it depends on what you want to get out of it. Yeah, it's a drowner tooth.
It's a drowner tooth.
Yeah.
And dope, because they got rid of the drown problem, that's not going to be an issue.
Oh, your medallion, by the way, does not vibrate at all. So you know that there's no danger around, or there's no monster. That drowner in particular is in there.
Yep. Okay. I want to investigate. Like I want to investigate the bodies. Know, A, how long they've been dead. B, like what way were they, so on and so forth, eaten.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just more interested, like, in the broken blades and the arrows to see if there's any additional tracks, or if the people that were here are still alive.
All right. What we'll do a bit of a skill challenge here. I'll ask you to roll for first aid, roll for awareness, and then roll for crafting.
Which I have 0 in. Alright, so first one is first aid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
12.
All right.
12 with first aid.
Awareness.
Awareness for the second one.
18.
And crafting for the third one. 12, 18, and 13. All right.
You do have luck points if you want to use them.
Yep. You just need to tell me before I give you the results, like which skill, which role you want to add them to.
I want to add 2 in my first aid and 1 in the crafting.
All right. So to bring them to 14, 18, and 14, which is 3 successes. All right. First aid. You wanted to know how long these bodies had been, killed. About maybe a week ago. When you start looking at the carcasses, you notice that, like, there's maggot larvae all over the place, but it's, like, still inside the horses. So it hasn't been long enough that the maggots have started eating through the skin and all that, but it's getting there. With your awareness check, you notice that, of course, there were drowner tracks a while back, and they lead to the general direction of the river. Then again, with your craft check, you also know that the arrows that are found in the horses, as in they were fired at the horses, are of human make. And the broken blade bits are like your generic standard issue, Redanian military swords. Nothing particularly outstanding. There's no, like, brand on it to identify who the blacksmith was that made them, so they're not, they weren't worth anything special either, and they weren't custom made for someone.
I almost forgot that we were in Redanian territory, so I got confused for a sec, but I was... Yeah, we're in Redanian territory, so Redanians are pretty common around these parts.
Yeah.
So that means... So, like, a week ago, something happened. Someone shot these horses. And for some reason, something broke their blades. Is there also, like, any additional tracks that were probably, like, a week old as well?
I'd say with the check that you have, yeah, sure. come from Brennick. And some of them leave, but not all of them. Some of them seem to have scattered, and once they've exited the field, you can't follow them anymore. But from those that came into the field, you notice 4 horses and 12 humans.
4 horses and 12 humans.
Like, there could be more if each person walked, like, perfectly into the tracks of another, but looking at the tracks real quick, it doesn't seem like they were organized that well. So there was a group of people that left Brennick that probably tried to go to the Tanner's hut and then were potentially waylaid by drowners in a field, which is pretty fucking far from the river. Something happened, a skirmish broke out, and people ran away, and the drowners went back to the river.
How odd. Why do I have the do I remember from when Egypt told us about the mission how long this merchant's cousin's been missing for?
Idrik. I know you're not there, but out of game, and for everybody else, do you want to recall what you told them?
Yes. That let's see, multiple people began disappearing south of Oxenfurt in the swamplands, and that Droof had gone missing. It was like I did not make note of the time frame in my notes because I'm a dummy, but it was about a week ago, if I recall, right? It's been long enough to concern his parents, but not so long as to have yeah. So he's been missing for about a week, but he's not the only one. Like multiple people have got missing, and everyone's blaming the beast of Oxenfurt.
Yeah.
But some people think it might be bandits, and others think it's an actual beast with like hundreds of legs and hard shell armor.
Okay.
So it would be around the same time. It's hard to identify exactly how many days. You're not a CSI. Yeah, I forgot the exact term.
Foreigner?
What?
Foreigner.
Yeah, no, a forensic scientist is what I was looking for. It's the word forensic that I forgot. But yeah, you're not, and you don't have necessarily the technology. But it's about around the same time.
Okay. I'm gonna try and the tracks that I'm able to follow.
Mm-hmm.
In that kind of the same direction. I want to see where that goes, and I want to see if I find anything of interest.
Those that scatter away. Like you want to follow the tracks of those that ran away after or during the skirmish?
I want to try and I want to try and find the ones that probably went off during the skirmish.
All right. Then I'll get back to you because it'll take more than an hour.
Yeah.
All right. As you're focused on following these tracks out of the field, and they keep going up to the northeast. So like closer in a way to big Novigrad. But like you're still, like a day out of Novigrad or whatever, but it's in that direction. Going back to the rest of our party, you've unearthed Kahir, Idrik, and the peasants. All of the bodies. None of them are human.
How long did I work for?
An hour. So, by the way, by this time, everyone should have lost 4 points of stamina. 7 for Steven and Manny. Because you've been digging.
Is that 4 plus 7 or 7?
No, 7 total.
Okay.
It's once you're done digging the bodies that Miriam sort of lights up and says, looks at Idrik and says, should we go look at the town cemetery?
Yes. Yes, we should make make sure your men burn these. The smell of rot will attract things you don't want. And in this time, Edric is also kind of taking a minute to like gather up the hides that have the skull things on them and throwing them inside the hut. And he goes, "No, once everything is burned, then it will be safe." And then just flares up another iron game, lights the hut aflame, making sure that Ilona is not currently inside of it, of course.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ilona will show them the statue and say, should we burn this? I don't think it will burn.
Where did you find this?
Inside the hut, and that was about it. I think this Rajamich is gone, left intentionally with everything he had.
Looking at it, do I recognize it as a hag or a crone?
A hunch older lady. Yeah.
Okay.
At this point. Or Ilona can fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, this is a nice turtle.
I love turtles. We will need to wait until Ari gets back. She would know more about a hag's capabilities than I. If none of this bodes well, I don't know if this Radomir is working with the hag or on his own or just is cursed. There's too many questions and not enough answers. But for now, we must burn this and get to the cemetery. In fact, sooner is better. You! And I just point at a peasant. And I throw him a crown. And I say, you wait here until the Witcher returns. When she does, tell her that we are in the cemetery.
And you see for a second he looks at your gold crown, and then he sees you Enye, the hut, and he's like conflicted. He's like,
You will be safe, don't worry.
all right, and he puts the coin away, and he's like, I'll wait, but until sundown.
Until sundown, yes.
And he seems to calm. And he sits on a stump nearby and waits as you guys rush off to the graveyard. Lo and behold, all the bodies are missing their heads. All 16 of them.
And no one noticed.
The thing is with the bodies in the graveyard, you had to dig deep enough to find them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, you've realized, I should have said that, you realized they were never buried in coffins. They were just thrown in a ditch and then buried in that ditch. So it still is about 4 or 5 feet under. But if you knew where or how the bodies are placed, it's easy enough to just dig a hole, get the skull out, bury the hole back up. The graveyard's outside town limits. There are no gravekeeper.
If you want to run, Tahir and Ilona, I will not blame you. This is turning into something potentially very dangerous. It will make a great story if we live through it.
Ilona will look to Kahir.
I don't think we have to run. I just think we should be careful, Ilona.
If a hag is involved, Nils Guardian, it won't matter how careful you are. What will matter is how lucky you are. All we can do, I think, is wait for Ariella.
Would
Unless
certainly
one of
feel,
I'm sorry, what?
I would certainly feel more comfortable with her around.
I think this will require some teamwork.
Tell me, here, how much money do you have on you?
We have 22 crowns between us.
Shame. I had hoped to outfit you with something a bit more appropriate to fighting the undead, as we may. The Skull Circle, it is dark magic, like I said, but specifically, it is necromancy. It is famously known for empowering the caster to control an army of undead. That might not be what it is being used for here, but it is very likely. I doubt the blacksmith here has anything of silver, but we might be able to come up with something to help you.
He fought the Drowner just fine.
There's a big difference between a drowner and a ghoul, I'm afraid.
I think they both die when you cut them, though.
What's that?
You would think that, but the ghoul is already dead, Nils Guardian.
Can't live for long without a head, can it?
I have seen many strange things, and I have a feeling we are about to see many more.
This day has been quite strange, I will agree with you, Edric.
And so, while you're waiting, and the sun's slowly going down, what am I saying? Yeah, it's just past noon, I'm sorry, by this time. Ariella, you have followed the tracks out of the field, and then lost any sight of any tracks. Seems like maybe if they were lucky, well, you didn't see any bodies, so they probably were lucky. They must have rejoined the main road and just, hid or something. You found a discarded dagger on your way there. Someone must have dropped it or something because the dagger is still in its sheath. It's just maybe like a strap got loose or cut off during the skirmish, and at some point they dropped it. You were about to give up and head back to Brennick when you saw in the distance a mound of stone and grass and dirt that had an opening dug in it, and you could swear with your witcher eyes that you saw 2 yellow beads staring at you. But that's where we're gonna end for today.
I'm just gonna glare at this guy at the same time. Grr.
I could feel it coming, but I'm still real concerned.
I think next game might be the showdown with whatever it is that has been causing these troubles and these disappearances and beheadings. And you guys have uncovered a lot of clues today.
Yeah, every time I think I've got a handle on the situation, you throw a little something extra at me, and I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Did you think this investigation would last longer?
Actually, no. You guys are pretty on track. It only depends. Like, you haven't gotten the whole picture yet. But that's normal. I mean, I'm keeping a few surprises. But you've done a good job at, like, checking everything. Making sure... Because you could have just gone back home after the drowners and be like, well, job done. And then the story would have taken a whole other direction in a couple of weeks. I mean, in-game in a couple of weeks, because still stuff going on. But I cannot wait for part 3.
I don't want 2 weeks.
Yeah, why you do this to us, Simon? You're all like, oh, you want to be in a Witcher game? And I'm like, yeah, I want to be in a Witcher game, sure. And they're like, little did you know, the real game would be finding a way to pass 2 weeks worth of time.
I know. But take heart. It's going to become weekly soon.
It also means he gets to he will stop shaving his face.
Mm-hmm. I will reassume the persona of the overwhelmed writer, which
Of
is
a
what I
not
call my face.
12-year-old boy.
Of a not 12-year-old. I mean, it's not 12. I got stubble.
No. I'm just thinking about next week.
Oh yeah, next week I'll be a sweet bab again. That's the thing. But we can keep talking about The Witcher on our Discord. In the meantime, before we leave, tell everyone who you are, where we can find you. You should have all the rights to post links in chat, by the way, the 4 of you.
Yeah.
So if you want to put like links to your socials and to your page, your Twitch, your channels, your everything, go right ahead. And I'll do the outros for myself at the end. Let's start outros with Manny.
Oh, okay.
We'll do the opposite.
Okay. Hi, I'm Manny, aka Bag of Snails, and yeah, I'm also a GM over on my channel twitch.tv/bagosnails that I'm posting right now with a Control V on alternating Wednesdays with this game. I run Scion Antiheroes, a role-playing game set in the modern era where my heroes, where my players are totally not villains fighting superheroes. That's not a thing that's happening. And what's cool is that we're getting a companion game starting soon. Let's see, every other Thursday, I'm over on the Phantom Roll booth with Ballad of the Garbage People as a large purple whale person. And Sundays, I'm over on Laura Lania's channel for season 2 of Shadow of the Demon Lord with my goblin boy Pox. We're in a dungeon and about to die, so I'm super excited.
Nice.
Right, it's my turn. Right?
Yep.
Alright, so hello everybody. My name is Jillian. I'm known as G4Gaming X on Twitter and G4Gaming on Twitch. These are my links, so you can go follow me on there. I sometimes stream on my PS4 and variety. I do different types of stuff. Overwatch or The Witcher 3, which I'm doing. And also on Tuesdays, I am on the RPG lab for the Inquisition game, where we're kind of in deep shit right now, which is basically all the time. So yeah, go follow me on there for some wacky stuff.
Cool. Steven.
Hi, everybody. Bye, everybody. I'm Steven. You can find me on Twitter at wolfwizard_, where I talk about nothing and everything all at the same time.
Oh, that's a
Right?
sick reference.
I am a GM for Burning Wheel over at Off the Table every other Wednesday. And I'm on Off the Table's Monster Hearts 2 podcast playing a werewolf. You can find that at off-thetable.com. And tomorrow, I think I'm going to be on Phantom Roll Booth playing Burning Wheel at 5 or 6 Eastern. Time is weird when you're talking about people all over the world playing. And I think it's at 4 or 5 Eastern. No, 4 or 5 Central. See, I told you.
So 5
Just-
or 6 Eastern.
Right, just show up sometime. We'll be playing.
All right, and lastly, Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm JL_nice girl on Twitter. I play all sorts of games. What am I playing right now on various channels? I'm playing D&D. I'm playing Star Wars Hack D&D on this channel. I am playing Mouse Guard. And I think, mostly just D&D and Mouse Guard right now. And this, I also do. You can see all of the times on my pinned tweet on Twitter. I also do a podcast called Too Many RPGs, which is a show where I talk to creators and fans of actual play shows about the shows that they love and why they love them. And I'm going to start streaming solo RPGs on my channel, twitch.tv/starvingsoubrette. So watch that space. I'm going to start with Quill, which is a fun game about writing letters to people. So come write silly letters with me and just watch my Twitter for when that happens.
But you mean solo, like you're the only one. It's not like a one-on-one thing.
No, it's just me.
That's wow. Okay.
I didn't know that existed. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch. I'm gonna try and play a whole lot of them. I'm playing, there's Quill, which is about writing letters. There are solo dungeon crawls. There's a really cool one that I found where you actually make a dungeon while you do it. There's some cool stuff, and I'm gonna explore it all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm wondering this is my channel. The schedule is down there. Except for Saturdays, which if you've seen my Twitter, there will not be a game tomorrow. I'm changing things up, and there will be a new Age of Arcana D&D 5e campaign soon. But for now, I am sort of taking a break. But you can still find me on Tuesdays, on Fridays, here or on Scraticus' channel. You can see me on Sundays for Mouse Guard, and if you pay close attention to Twitter, you might see my name come up in other games or campaigns soon. I don't know. I don't even know if I should mention it. And that's it. Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you guys had fun playing. I had a ton of fun, and I know 2 weeks is a long time, but we'll make it through, and we'll see all of you on the 26th of October for the showdown with the Beast of Oxenfurt, which is coincidentally also the game where everybody makes a new character.
Yeah.
Ciao everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.